Welcome to another video in this series which aims to cover the basics of operations of Fantasy Grounds Unity. In this video we're going to cover some of the buttons down the right hand side here, and we'll start with modules. We saw this already in an earlier video. What we didn't show was that when you click on one of these pictures on the left hand side here, it opens up a menu on the right. The most of the modules will have a similar pattern. What's in the index will be different depending on what kind of module it is. If we look down on these, you can see that there is a little icon down the left hand side. This is a link icon. What icon you see will depend on the theme that you have loaded. But clicking on any of those icons will open up more information. We have a list of classes here. Again, we've got an icon. We can open up that by clicking on it. We will see that we've got Barbarian. We've got another link here, and this opens up an image. And you'll see that there are links throughout the page here, which we can just open up, and it'll give you more information. So anytime you see one of these link icons, you can click on them and it'll open up a different page of information. If you're looking at a module for the first time, probably the best thing to do is to go to the reference manual if there is one. Not everything will have one, but most do. And essentially this is a copy of the book. It's as close as we can get to the hardback version of the books that are produced by the publishers. Down the bottom here we can click on the next page and previous page. And in any of the windows here, you can see again, we've got a little link icon. We can click on that to open up that page. If you wanted to, if this was an important page, you can then drag that down there if you wanted to, and that would put it onto your quick bar so you can access this page quickly should it be information that you would want to preserve. You can do the same sort of thing with the index here. So if you wanted to put your reference manual down on your quick bar, then you can do so, and when you click on it, it'll open up the reference manual quickly for you. As you click through the reference, you'll come across images. You can click on the image and it will pop up the image, and you're then able to right click on the image and do various things with it, such as share the image with your players. I've got a whole video about images which you can view. I'll try and remember and link that in the comments below. Also in the reference manual here at the bottom, we have got an expand all button. So if we click on that, it will open up all the chapters and pages in those chapters. And of course, the next button collapses everything again. If you wanted to search the reference manual, let's say you wanted to search for poison, for example, just type that into the search box, and any pages which has the word poison on it will pop up in the left-hand side. Okay, let's close that one and let's briefly look at the assets window. This is where you would access all of your assets. So assets includes tokens, portraits, images, and there's also an all button. There's also down at the bottom here a search bar where you can type in your particular search. If you wanted to find a particular module or a particular image, then do so here. This button here gives you toggles between a grid and a list view, and this one here goes to the next page because this is all paged, so it depends on what you have here as to what you will see. You've also got a button that goes to the store, and you've also got a button which goes to your folder, which if you click on that will open the images folder in your campaigns. Again, I've got a video somewhere which is all about the images, and so I would refer to that one. I'll try and remember and link that in the comments below so that you can view that one. If we go now onto the player tab here, we've got characters and notes. Characters is a whole video in its own, but if we click on this, then you will see some commonality here with lots of other windows that we have mentioned before. Again, I would strongly advise that you click on the little icons here, the query icon. This will take you to the wiki page, which will tell you what this window does and how to create characters. We've got a button here for the character wizard, which I'm not going to cover because the character wizard is currently being rewritten, but this is how you would make up your characters using the character wizard. But you can also click on this add item button, which will give you a new character sheet, and then you can create characters using the normal drag and drop method. Again, this is subject for a different video, which I'll do at some point in the future. Um, there is also a button here to edit list, as you've seen this before. When we click on that, this opens up two new buttons. The first one is delete, and you can also export characters, and this blue button here allows you to import characters from other campaigns. So all of this is covered in another video, which I would advise you to look at for more details. Okay, on to notes. Notes are really for players. They're not really a DM tool, so I'll cover these in a separate video, which is specifically aimed at players. As a DM, you're going to be more concerned with the buttons under the campaign heading, because this is where you're going to find all your information about the campaign that you're running and any modules that you have or any adventure modules that you have open. If we just let's take the images as an example here, and again, this window has got lots of commonality. Let's make it a little bit bigger. First thing we've got up here is various import and create campaign assets and a store button. Again, I've done a separate video on how to get images into your campaign, so I would refer to that for how these buttons up at the top here work. Underneath here, we've got the group button, and at the moment it's showing all. If we click on this drop down here, we will open up all the image chapters that we have in the from loaded modules. What you'll see here will depend entirely on what modules you have loaded into your campaign. But if you wanted to see the images for the D&D starter set rulebook, which I have open, then this will show them here. You can select any of these images just by clicking on it. And again, as I say, you can right click and then you can share this image. And when we share this image, you will see that we get a little these icons down the right hand side here change. The first one, the book icon, changes to a book and pen, and this means that we have changed this image in some way. Something has happened to this image. We have done something to it. In this case, we've shared it. The little P sign means it is public or shared, and so when your players join your game, they'll immediately have access to this image. Um, if we don't want to do that, we want to unshare it, we can just simply click on this P button and it'll go away. If we want to revert this image back to what it was in the module, we want to get rid of all our changes. If we right click over the image here and go to revert changes, then the book and pen icon goes away to just a book. So the book icon means that this image is from a module which you have open in your campaign. If there's nothing here at all, then it's an image which you've created yourself or you have imported it into Fantasy Grounds. If it's got a book, it means it's from a campaign. If it has a book or pen, or book and pen, then it means that the image has been altered in some way. If we just share a couple of images again just for fun. See, we've shared another couple of videos now. Down the bottom here you've got a button which says all and it says filter by sharing mode. If we click this button, then it changes to a shared button and it shows you only the images which have been shared with your players. If we go back to all, for example, then it'll still show you the images which you have shared from any open module that you have, and you can click that shared button again to go back to all. So that's a handy way of finding quickly what images you have shared, and of course from here you can then unshare the image if you want, or whatever you want to do. Let's look now at the NPCs button. Here we've got a list of the NPCs. Now, Fantasy Grounds is an NPC as far as Fantasy Grounds is concerned is a non-player character, and it's also a monster. So any kind of monsters or any non-player characters will appear on this list. Up at the very top here, we've got various filters. You can filter your NPCs by letter, by challenge rating, or by type, simply by clicking on these buttons. You can collapse the chapters or the types here by just clicking on them, and you can page through as normal in any other window. And you've also got a search bar at the bottom where you can type in a search to drill down to a specific NPC. Again, underneath that we've got our group selector, and we can switch between the different groups that we have for NPCs, and again what's there will depend entirely on what is in the or what modules that you have open. Once again, you've got a link here which we can open up. We've got more information on the actual NPC. We've got two tabs for the NPCs, the main and other. If we click on other, we have got a link here which is taking us to an image of this kobold. And again, everything that you see, everything that you do, all these links will take you to further information. Once again, we've got a search bar down at the bottom here, and we've also got a sharing button too. So if we have, for example, shared a blip with our players, when we click the all button, it shows you just the images or just the NPCs that have been shared. Next to that, there's an import text button. Again, this is a video which I've done to show you how this operates. It imports NPCs from a text file. Then you've got this another button which does pretty much the same sort of thing, but as I say, that is covered in another video. We've got add item, which means that you can create a brand new NPC yourself. You just need to fill in all of this. All of these buttons here add items, so you add a trait or whatever, and you can edit list and delete them just in the same way. So all of these buttons do the same kind of thing. No matter what window you see these buttons on, they do pretty much the same kind of thing. We've also got our delete button here, so if we edit the list, we will see a row of red marks here, and we can delete the items that we don't want to have anymore. Clicking it again gets rid of that. We've also got some filters down here. So if we click on the drop down, we can filter out all the challenge rating 1 monsters, and we've also got a type filter. So if we wanted to find all the challenge rating 1 Fey, which there aren't any here, then let's see, maybe humanoid, here we go. So if we wanted to drill down to just humanoids that are challenge rating 1, then we can do that as well using those filters. All of these buttons down here essentially have the same kind of thing. They will possibly have some kind of button up here, in this case encounters. This takes you to random encounters, which is a different thing from a normal encounter. You've got all your encounters here, which you can open up, you can view them, etc., etc. Same kind of thing with treasure parcels, quest, and stories. And again, the stories has got a button for templates, which is a subject of a different video. You've got your index here, or your groups, which you can change between. And again, you can click on any of these story entries, and if they've got links within them, then you can click on those to see what these all are. So the story entries are pretty much the same as what you'll find in the book, and they're also in this case they will be copied over to the reference manual as well, so you can read these stories in the reference manual, and when you're actually playing the game you'll probably be using the story entries. Now, another common thing which you will find in virtually all of these entries is this little lock icon, which means that this entry is locked. It means you can't edit it, but if you click on it and it unlocks it, then you can then start to edit this entry. So you could add in some more text wherever you want. and then you can make that a chat entry or whatever, and we'll cover some of this in another video. But if you want to edit something, then you can unlock it, and then you can do edits. If you wanted, for example, to edit an NPC, then what I would suggest, let's get rid of this. What I would suggest you do first of all is you make a copy of the NPC by dragging the NPC and dropping it back into the window here. We then have a copy of this blue dragon wormling, which you can then click on, and then you can unlock the wormling here, and then you can edit whatever you like. You can give it more hit points or different armor class, or you can add different traits or whatever, bonus actions, whatever you want. You can type all that in and create a completely new kind of character or NPC in this case. And you can do exactly the same kind of thing with stories, tables, parcels, NPCs. Well, we've covered that. The only thing you can't really do that to is images. So really, that's, I think, we've flown through it a bit, but that gives you some idea of what you can do with some of these buttons. We'll cover the character buttons in a separate video aimed at players. These are all the buttons that you would be using for creating characters, and we'll look at those in a separate video. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers for now.